home tonight. Was at the shop earlier today, putting stuff together. But now at home and still trying this dual camera thing here, using both YouTube on that side and TikTok on this side. And I'll try to answer any questions or show any swords that you guys want to see. But do bear with me as I try to jump between two different cameras. Anyway, what I have in my hand here, I have a sword that was made in the late Bakumatsu period, mid 1800s. So this is the time when the samurai are actually using swords as their primary weapon. So for the better part of history, the Japanese usually used first bows, then pole arms as their primary weapons, and the sword was the backup. It's what you used if the shit hit the fan, and that was your last resort. So swords were actually not commonly used in battle. Hey, Jill. And so it's been shown that on battlefields, like an estimated 6% of samurai died from sword wounds, only 6%. So anyway, this is a sword that was probably used during this time, the 1800s. It's what's called a Kinoto. These are the type of swords that were favored by the samurai who supported the emperor over the shogun in the Bakumatsu period. This one is about 29 inches long, relatively thick. What does Jill say? Jill didn't say. Jill just said hello. 29 inches long, pretty thick. If you look at the base here, it is a pretty wide-based sword. And also straighter. It's not perfectly straight, but it is relatively straight. And that's something you will see in the Kinoto, the swords from the mid-1800s. And hey, Steve. And the reason was that during that time, and hello, Angelo. The reason was that a lot of the samurai, most of them were basically bureaucrats, but there were those who trained in fighting arts that used sparring swords, like the modern day shinai, like the split bamboo swords, and they were straighter. So they wanted their weapons to be very similar to that. So that's one of the things that you will see during that time period. Hello, Gaslight Studios, rebooted. Good evening, John. The gold plum arrived this evening. Looks good. Thank you. Glad to hear that, Bad Wolf. Thanks for content information. Always a treat. Thank you, Infrared Gambler. Love, are there any tachi that have similar length to the katana, or are they always longer? So Leah Drake, actually, thank you to the person who said they loved my videos. And hey, JT. So tachi, there are plenty of tachis that were shorter. So you had a tachi, then you had a kodachi, and they had varying lengths. It was really dependent upon the user. And so there were several tachi that were basically katana length. The tachi did come before the katana. That's the one thing to pay attention to there. If swords weren't used much, how come they are so important to Japanese history and to the samurai? Well, the sword, number one, there are a lot of stereotypes surrounding it. And that's just because there is something really cool about a sword. I mean, you can't deny that swords are super cool. So I'm here trying to figure out a sword. Here's another sword from the 1800s. This one is already bought and just waiting here for the guy to finish paying for it. And this is a Satsuma era period sword as well. And you can notice too, it is straight and also very big and long. But going back to the question of length, a lot of tachi were similar to the length of katana later. So there's no rule that says a tachi should be longer than a katana. Thanks for helping me about katana. Awesome, Angela. I'm not sure what we did, Angela, but we're always happy to help. Let's see. Gaslight Studio says, what do you think is the best weapon film set in the Sengoku Jidai in terms of authenticity of weapons and costumes? I won't say the best film, but I will say the Taiga drama, Toshie Tomatsu is my favorite. It's an NHK Taiga drama, 48 episodes long. Absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing. It's probably one of my favorites. Let's see. 29 is a bit small in my mind, but makes sense for those guys. 29 inches is pretty, how tall are you, Ronin? Let's see. What's the shortest kodachi and longest wakizashi? Well, that's a good question. So you oftentimes have intent. That what was the sword made for? Was it made to be a kodachi or was it made to be a wakizashi? So you have the intent, and length doesn't necessarily, we arbitrarily use lengths. Let's just say that. We use arbitrary lengths to define swords now. But back in the day, it was more about what was the intent for the sword. So kodachi and wakizashi are all both roughly cap out at about 60 inches, or sorry, not 60 inches, 60 centimeters, which is about 24 inches, 2 feet. But that's, once again, modern day classifications for defining that. Let's see. Now watch The Blue-Eyed Samurai. Is it similar to Sword of the Stranger? I have never watched Sword of the Stranger, so I couldn't tell you. Musashi is said to kill over 60 men in combat. Not only that, he used wooden swords for like a lot of those. Hey, Ryan. We do have Emma. I don't have it here. I'm at home, not at the shop. But at the shop, we do have Emma. What's a good price for a first katana? It depends on what you want to do. Do you plan on cutting with it, or are you just having it for fun, just to display and to show? So that's a big question to me. Thanks for providing information about katanas. I try. Oh, I received my sword stands. Wow, that was really fast, Jill, because I think I just dropped them off on Monday. So getting to Iowa in 2 days is pretty impressive. Someone please tell me if vegetable oil is bad for oiling. I don't know. I wish I could tell you. I wouldn't use it. There are better stuff. There are better oils to use, and I mean that we know that are used regularly. Hey, Jesse. Let's see. 60 duels in his teens. When battles and later in life he would have fought even more. I can finally take revenge for my master. Good evening, Real Void. How much is the Emma? We sell it for 150. I always love this channel. Thank you, Sid. Was it common to dual wield 2 wakizashi or 2 kodachi? No, that was not very common. Swords were a sidearm. You know, it was more common to use a bow prior to 1400, more common to use a spear or a polearm between 1400 and 1550, and more common to use a gun between 1550 and 1600. So actual weapons were less. And let's clarify that by saying, when are we talking in Japanese history? Because there are times, like once you get to like the Edo period, there's not much conflict at all. You know, there's strict restrictions on who can carry a sword at all, and then what length swords they can carry. And duels are pretty much outlawed. I mean, there are very specific rules for duels, and so in general, there aren't a lot of sword fights and people using 2 swords. But I mean, it did happen, obviously. Let's see. Daily Dose. Did samurai use guns? Yes, they did. Hey, Chad. Since Chad is here, I got to show him. This is something, we're talking about old swords. This one is not old. This is a new sword made of S5 shock steel. So this is the kind of steel that they use in jackhammers. So it's super durable. But what's really cool about this sword, I didn't get a chance to shoot much video on this. Hopefully Chad won't buy it just yet because I haven't shot any video on it. But look at the tip of this sword. This is modeled after Tang Dynasty style swords. But look, it's double-edged. Well, actually, the back end isn't sharpened. This side is sharpened. But notice that triangle bohi there, the triangle termination. So sorry, I'm gonna hold it up so both sides can see it here. So this is a Kogurasa style sword, or Morohazukuri, or Kisaki Morohazukuri sword, but it's straight. So this is more similar to what you would see probably around 700 AD, but they wouldn't have had shock steel. Yeah, if you want a good sword, you know, back in the day, they didn't necessarily have great steel. I thought about going to your store, but it's too far, but I like your videos. Well, anytime you are in the area, Angela, please come. You're always welcome to come and visit us. Do you make katana yourself? No, I do not. I wish I had that skill. Let's see. Do you have gut sword? We do not. I can't wait till my T10 Sea Dragon gets here. I'm stoked. Dark Jedi Lance. Are you James by any chance? Because I hope your sword gets there soon, because yeah, USPS is not the best way to send things at this time of year. It's actually, I would always prefer UPS over USPS any day of the week, but especially during holidays. A good price for a first cutting katana. For a good practitioner, I would say $200. Get our Moritaka Vortex. Go to our website, rvakatana.com, and look up the Vortex, Vortex. It's a great first-time sword. Do you sell Tamahagane katanas? We do sell some antique katana made of Tamahagane, of course, and we are getting some from Cloudhammer. We're getting 3 Tamahagane katana from Cloudhammer. Do you make, I already answered that question. Did you get the double kodachi in yet? 2 kodachis in on the sheath? Yeah. If you check some of my videos on TikTok, actually both TikTok and YouTube, you'll see us, Scott and I, playing around with the double kodachi. It is a lot of fun. It's pretty cool. But it's very hard to draw. I haven't watched Samurai X or seen it, so I don't know how he draws it. But it's not easy. Let's just say that. I was thinking maybe I could use my teeth, like draw one side of the guy and he can draw the other side, but it's hard to get that both sides out. But yes, we do have the double kodachi now. Let's see. Well, it's time to say goodbye to it, John. The transfer cleared into my account. Damn it. So Chad, let me shoot some video of that before I ship it. Show us curvy stuff. Like, no, I'm sorry, we won't go there. I took a few kendo classes. There's a lot about respecting the sword. Yes, there is. How come they're so important if they were barely used? Well, the sword was considered to be the soul of the samurai, though during the warring period they were churned out so fast. I don't know whose soul was so cheap. But basically, there's just sort of a symbolism with the sword. Also, a sword, like for example, spears are multi-purpose weapons. You can use them for hunting as well. Versus a sword is specifically a weapon of war, and so it is a warrior's weapon. Now, do they actually use them? Not too often. What's a good length sword to practice iaijutsu with 28-inch? Am I doing it wrong? That really depends on your height and your school. Some schools prefer longer swords, some shorter. Let's see. What do you recommend for an apocalypse? Get an S5 shock steel sword. It won't break. I mean, it will if you try. How much the Edo era swords cost? We sell them for anywhere. We sell them at RVA Katana for $2,000 to about $4,000. But you can find them cheaper in other places online, not necessarily good condition, and you can find them for much, much more expensive because the Edo period is a time when the swordsmiths had much more time to put into their swords because it wasn't a time of war. They could take their time and work on the craft. So here is probably one of my nicest in terms of quality swords. This was made during the, let's see, 1850s, I believe. And this is also a Kinoto. This thing is a ginormous sword. But just everything about it, the craftsmanship is really amazing. It's really hard to see it in the light in this room, but it has a really gorgeous hamon to it. It is a giant sword. This is also a Kinoto. I also have another Edo period sword. This is actually a Shinto. It's a 1600s, like late 1600s sword. So if you like the Blue-Eyed Samurai, this is a sword that you would see, but this is a longer one, close to 84 centimeter blade length. So we're talking about 28, 29 inches. No, sorry, 33 inches blade length. And once again, the craftsmanship is really amazing. This one is a signed sword. Both of those are signed swords, actually. But you can actually see the hamon very clearly on this sword compared to the other one. These are designs of ancient katana like samurai. Yes, Angelo. What about straight sword? We do have several straight swords. They were not very common in Japan. Starting in 700 AD, the Japanese started converting from straight sword to long sword. However, I do have one that is almost like 400 to 450 years old. I just got this last week. This is made by the very famous Dotonuki family, and this is a straight katana. So you can see it's also very long at 81 centimeter blade length. So in context, most mass-produced swords nowadays are 70 centimeters. So this is a good 11 centimeters long than standard, but it's a very long, buff blade. It's not in an amazing condition, but it's like, once again, it's very rare to see straight swords, let alone straight ones that are so freaking long and also old and also made by the Dotonuki family or school. Let's see, moving right along. Lots of questions here on TikTok, so I'm going to focus here. YouTube people, if you answer a question, I will try to get to it. Where is the store located? I'm out of Fresno, California. Fox, we are in Richmond, Virginia. I am watching from Yokosuka, Japan. I love learning more about katana and tachi from you. Well, if you are in Yokosuka, Lady Lorelei, you go to sword stores. You have access to a lot more swords than I do. So take advantage of it while you're out there. Talk to people there are really great experts in Japanese swords, much more so than I am. What was that sword double-sided? Not sure which one we were looking at. Done, dads. I'm a few comments behind. Let's see. Are the swords sharp? Yes. Do you personally collect any rapiers or only katana? I actually have a pair of antique Spanish rapiers up there. And those were from my father's collection, and I've just sort of kept them. So those are, antique rapiers. Roughly, I think they're 1800s, if I remember correctly. Hey, do you remember packaging my sword? I bought the gold plum katana yesterday. I know all gold plums have been shipped out. Or I can't see your name, Jacob. We did ship out some gold plum swords yesterday. Don't know if it was yours or not. Do you have Meliodas' sword? No. Received my vortex, but it is catching in the saya. Any suggestions? Yes, teriyaki. Wait like 2 or 3 days because the vortexes have very excellent fit. So sometimes in the UPS trucks, the temperature difference will cause the saya to either expand or shrink. In your case, it looks like it's shrunk. But just give it a couple days and try it again. And if it's still an issue, then let us know. Didn't they use katanas in World War II? They use what were called gunto. which were military sabers. So this is a gunto from World War II. This one is actually fit with a family blade. Now that said, did they use them? Yes, but they used them to kill unarmed people. So they didn't usually use these in battle. They were usually used as weapons of war criminals. So to commit war crimes. So yeah, this one, if it turns out to be a really nice blade, I'm going to take it out of its gunto fittings and remount it as something else because I am not a big fan of gunto, just because there is a nasty history of them. But yes, they did use those military sabers, gunto, in World War II. Is there an easy way to fix a loose saya? Yes. Depends if it's loose. Is it loose at the mouth or is it loose deeper inside? If it's loose out in the mouth, you can shim it by what you can do is you can use, there's several ways to do it. The easiest way is to take carpenter's glue or wood glue and then tape or work a piece of paper. So let me see if I can, do I have a bare saya here? I do not have a bare saya, but I will take a wakizashi since they're easier to show. So what you would do is that you would take, this is the sharp side over here, and you would take a piece of paper like V and wood glue it into the inside there, let it dry, and then you should have a slightly tighter fit. If you want something nicer, you can use birch veneer, or another one that people do is they'll put like a drop of Gorilla Glue here and let it dry, and then file it down so it has a good fit. So there are a lot of ways to deal with it, of a loose saya. If you have a loose saya, like if it rattles, then you can take a small piece of pool noodle, a sliver of it, and put it down into there, and then it'll usually help deal with the rattle. So there are a lot of quick fixes if your sword is too loose or too tight. What's he reading? I'm not sure what I'm reading. Yes, I'm reading the chat. If it's loose, it's cheap. That's not necessarily. So that's not true. I mean, here, this is loose. But it's also this one's also 400 years old. So when things are old, it's loose. If it's loose, it's not necessarily cheap. That's one of the things with loose swords is that over time, or depending on weather, things can loosen up. It should not be loose between the tsuka and the guard. But if it is, there are quick fixes. Let's see. I'm 6'4" and learning from family. I had 36 would be good for me, but I'm not sure. Second opinion. 36 is a pretty long sword, even if you're 6'4". 36 is pretty long. Strongest combat ready steel you have is S5 shock steel. Thank you, Jacob, for answering. Let's see. Show the biggest sword I have. The biggest sword I have here, I have a bigger one at the shop, but this is the biggest one I have here, which is a Nodachi. This one is a 39-inch blade length. So the person who's 6'4", imagine taking 3 inches off of this, and then you have a third. Actually, I have a 36-inch one over here. Oh, let's see. There are decorations, katana, yes. Let's see. My grandmother has an antique wakizashi, assuming it does not have a signature. Is there any way to tell more about it? She seems to think it's a few hundred years old. She's from Japan and brought it to the US at least 50 years ago. So Velo, send me some pictures, rvakatana@gmail.com, and I can try to look at it. It should be, people who are really good at it can definitely identify it, but I always like to see if I can do it. Myself. One of the cool things about wakizashi is that sometimes they started off as a katana and were later cut down. Let's see. 39 comments. Do you have a katana that can cut a banana in a cabana in Montana? Do they have cabanas in Montana? It seems to be. Yeah. Anyway, do you know anything about the swordsmith Masamune? Yeah, Masamune was a famous innovator. Basically, the Mongols invaded Japan in the late 1200s. And Japanese swords fared very poorly against Mongol armor. And if it wasn't for typhoons, then Japan might have been taken over by the Mongols. But swordsmiths took lessons from those battles, and Masamune was one of the first ones. And so he basically experimented in making better, more durable swords. So Masamune is probably considered to be one of the most famous swordsmiths ever. My wife is Japanese, and she has a family katana that was close to 400 years old, got stolen. Man, I'm sorry. That sucks, Lance. That really sucks. My wife is Japanese, but they hate swords. So if you want to keep the Cloudhammer, John, I'll take that one from you for Cloudhammer prize. I'm not sure what you're saying, Chad. Let's see. How much is that? I'm not sure which one you're asking about. I'm 39 comments behind. Yoru, you mean Yoruichi, or Yoru? I'm not sure. I'm watching from the Philippines. Is it free shipping? Not to the Philippines. It's about $75 to the Philippines. Actually, it's no free shipping at all. My stream froze for a bit. I don't know if my comment worked. Not sure. You'd have to just ask again. Do you have a sword I can keep in my Ford and use when I'm bored? Now make these as haiku, and I'd be much more impressed by that. Uh, so these are not combat ready. Sure, they are. Yeah, the antiques are not. The antiques are not, but the other ones are. Let's see. Okay, when I visit her, I'll try to get some pictures. Yeah, if you get the pictures of your grandmother's sword, get it out of its. Just get the blade by itself, and that'll help us identify it better. And definitely get the tang. Hey, Celtic Knight. Celtic Knight, I'm not ignoring you. I've just been so busy. I haven't had a chance to talk to Cloudhammer. I haven't talked to them in like 2 or 3 days to get a quote on your sword. Do you think the Honjo no Samani will ever be found? No idea. I want the Azure Dragon Katana. We have it available, says Ludwig Tokugawa. All right. Do you know if double sword stand on your site that's on sale for 24 can hang on the wall? The stand cannot. So we have wall stands and we have regular stand. We have wall mounts and floor stands or shelf stands, whatever. So you want to get a wall rack, and a wall rack can obviously. Yes, they are sharp and they are full tang. My first sword was a true katana tanto, which absolutely sucked, but I didn't know at the time. I saw you sold 24 gold plum swords yesterday. I don't think we sold 24. We sold probably like 3 or 4. It was pretty crazy how many gold plums we sold yesterday. War crimes. What was the first? So I already answered that question. That's wrong nor true. You look forward to new Shogun series? Yeah, I guess if Shogun, if it's better than the original, I would be very happy. The original is, I don't think it's particularly good, but that's me. I'm gonna turn this camera, see if I can get a better, getting a little more of the swords. Let's see. I'm happy to do that. I love swords. Awesome. Really sorry about the mishap I had with the Moritaka order a couple days back. I appreciate your support a lot. Oh yeah. Pevra, I know you're June something, June Hong maybe. We got everything fixed up. You're getting the bohi. It's on its way. Let's see. Yes, Bean Man, this is true. Hey, Scooby Stearns. Let's see. I know my steel. I've already answered about my first sword, which was a Tanto. What is the length blade you would recommend for someone 5'7"? A regular 27.5-inch blade is fine. Kyle, the ones we've already sent you are perfect for your height. Can we see the meteorite sword if you have it nearby? Yeah, I can do that. It's right over here. Reaching up. This is the meteorite sword, a meteorite tachi. When I say meteorite, it's only about 20%, or sorry, 30% meteorite. It is pattern welded with other steels. So it's really hard to see in this lighting, but it has a really interesting Damascus style pattern, the whorls and everything. But it is a really pretty sword. I love this thing. This is like, there are certain swords that I don't list because I hope they don't sell. And actually, I think I did list this one. Let's see. What size blade would you recommend for me at 6'4"? Yeah, talk to your teacher. If you have a teacher, talk to your teacher. But at 6'4", you cannot start with a regular size blade. I'm not a weapons expert, but I know a little bit about Japanese weapons. Cool. Yo, just got my Clowner 51C. I love it, but the cap on there is crooked and the saya is like peeling. Other than that, it's beautiful. Serial Master, can you send me pictures? Send me pictures and let me know, and we'll figure out what to do about that. And I am sorry that there was an issue with it. Let's see. Yeah. Okay. Let's see. Can we see your oldest sword? I already answered about the first sword. I'm late. Which one is this? This is the Cloudhammer Meteor Touchy with the water dragon fittings. Oh, oldest sword would be this one. This one might be up to 1,000 years old. And when I say 1,000 years old, I'm not talking about the fittings. The fittings are Edo period, or rather the saya is Edo period. The Tsuba could be warring period, Sengoku period. This is the blade. It is what's called a narrow, slender tachi. So yeah, this is my oldest and probably one of my most favorite swords, just because it's so different. It has just so different from other swords out there. Let's see. When did samurai wear tanto as well as daisho? I know daisho is a katana and wakizashi. Well, a daisho could also be a katana and a tanto as well. Let's see. Yeah, the meteor sword is beautiful. Thank you, Swift Whip. My first order is on UPS truck for delivery. They should drop it off anytime now. Awesome. I hope you get it soon, Vito. Do you guys carry any Iaito swords in Uchigano Wakasashi package, and do you plan on selling specific fittings like Tsuba? No plans to sell Tsuba. We do have a 28 and 29, no, a 28-inch long stainless steel Iaito, and we do have a Wakasashi that matches with it. The Tsuba are a little bit different, but they are almost exactly the same otherwise. Let's see. Can you tell us anything? I think I mentioned Honjo Masamune was basically a sword that was owned by the Tokugawa family. At the end of World War II, the Allies demanded that all swords were surrendered. The Japanese thought they were going to get their swords back. They surrendered the Honjo Masamune, and then it disappeared. So no one knows where it is. But some people, it could be that the Tokugawa family just kept it and never told anybody. That could end up being what had happened. Let's see. So also go to on YouTube. You can go to RVAKatana.com and look up Iaito, and you will find it there. See you, Angelo. Thanks for joining in. Our most expensive katana, the most expensive one that we sell, is about $4,000. It's actually right here. It's $3,750. It is about 150 years old. It is a what do you call it? Kinoto. So these were swords that were used by samurai that supported the emperor during the late era of the Tokugawa era. So there was a conflict between the shogun and the factions that supported the emperor. They were just wanted to prop the emperor up as a figurehead. So the Satsuma Choshu alliance. And so the ones that supported the emperor tended to like these swords here. A lot of them had like outsized personalities, like Saigo Takamori, Ryoma, all these really amazing, pretty crazy people. Let's see. First sword I've already answered. Stores located in Richmond, Virginia. Yeah, I got the Yoroichi from, yes, we do have Yoroichi. Jay, we just got it back in. Do you go live on your Wing Chun? I don't even have enough people to go live on my Wing Chun, Dennis. Trevor Gombawa. Let's see. Jason, hey buddy, is there a simple test you can do to make sure a katana has been heat treated properly? Not that I know of. I mean, if you know of one, let me know. I guess smack it into something and see. Can you not see my comments? Castro, I'm not sure. What did you ask? What's the best length would you recommend for someone 5'3"? Still a 27.5 should be totally fine for you at 5'3". Do you have a railway steel sword? I have one railway steel sword. It is like a Gunto from World War II. So yeah, we have one. How much is the meteorite sword? It's $2,000. It's one of the most expensive ones we have. We're actually getting a Saka meteorite sword too in the near future. I want to see the sword straight. Here, I can show you a straight sword. This one is 400 to 450 years old. I just got this one. It is made by the Totonuki school. Very long at 81 centimeters, straight. So this is a straight katana. I thought it would be called a chokoto, but Ray Singer tells me that no. To be a chokoto, it has to have a very specific chokoto tip, and mine does not. Let's see. Hey, Lauren. You are one of the very few lives I see I actually have some quality swords. Let's see. Thank you. The best sword is Ronizoro Emma Katana. We have it in shop. I don't have it here. Hey, and I already answered that. Do you have World War II Japanese officer saber? We have one that's made of railway steel in shop. Plus I have one that's personal. Refugee of Vietnam. I have been interested in Iaido training and came across Tozando, and wonderful if you've heard about them. Any opinions? Tozando is great stuff. Tozando is expensive, but Tozando has excellent fit and finish. You'll get a sword that's just as well mounted as a regular Japanese sword. So Tozando makes really good stuff, but you're going to pay for it. I personally don't think it's worth it personally, but that's me. Hey, Vorteka. Let's see. Hope to buy from you guys next year. Awesome. Hey, Cook. I would like to see Sasuke sword if possible. I don't have it here. It's at the shop. If I were at the shop, I could show you, but I am not at the shop right now. Just sent the pics, but I already cut with the sword since everything was very tight and no. Yeah, Serial Master, if there are any cosmetic issues, we can see what we can do about it. Yeah, we'll figure it out because I don't like sending people bad swords. Even if it's just the fittings. I mean, it could be something where we just give you a discount in the future or whatever. We'll figure it out. This is Daryl, I assume, right? Do you know anything about the steel sword of Gojian is made out of? I believe it's like a bronze. I believe the sword of Gojian is made of bronze. It's really cool looking. It's pretty amazing that it's like 2,000 some years old and in perfect condition, right? That's why I was asking if you carry any Iaito because it costs so much. Yeah, our Iaito are about 250, and Tozando is like 400 plus. All right, catching up here on Tuto. How much eyed gunto. The gunto that we have for sale is 1100. What does the RVA Katana stand for? RVA is Richmond, Virginia. Originally, I chose that because I thought we were going to be a local store that catered to local people looking for swords, and that they could find, like a Google search would come up with RVA Katana pretty easily. But I never expected us to get bigger. If I expected us to get bigger like we are now, I would have come up with a cooler name than RVA Katana. But now, with RVA Katana, we can do cool things like this logo, right? Any ETA on the Black Lotus Katana from Cloudhammer? Vorteca, I just got an update that we are getting 5 of them in the next shipment. And I think that there are 12 that have been ordered. So the first 5 people ordered will get the Black Lotus. So I am sorry about that. They are taking their time with it. Favorite non-Nihonto sword you ever used or owned? Used? This would be my second favorite. My favorite is owned by John Smitka, and that sword, it was like an L6 Moritaka, and that thing it was just cut like a dream. But this is a Motohara Naginata Naoshi style katana. This one it just cuts so amazingly. So this is my favorite usable sword. In terms of favorite looking sword, like for just fun sword, I have plenty. I wouldn't even know. Do you have any nickel alloy Iaito? No, they're all stainless steel or steel. Let's see. You tell me yesterday, show me the straight sword. Okay. I just showed this, but I don't mind showing it again. Here is the straight sword, the straight Dotonuki. I think it's so cool. This is the only straight sword Nihonto I have ever seen, and now I own it. I had this epiphany the other day yeah. Anyway, I won't go to my epiphany. Never mind. There are too many people listening. Haha. Let's see. Everyone answering Richmond, Virginia for me. Thank you. What's the difference between a knife, dagger, and a tachi? Tachi is super long. Well, classically, this is a tachi. This actually is anywhere from 650 to 800 years old. This blade, not the shirasaya, but the blade. And so this is actually a good idea of what a tachi from the 1300s would look like with this curvature. So this is my favorite sword in my collection. Also the most expensive sword in my collection. Let's see. Can I get my keychain sometime this week? So Lauren, it's in my car right now. Can you show me which one very shape? I'm not sure what you're asking. Saw a recent samurai TikToker use their left hand as a guide, touching the blade. What do you think? Some people do that. Some versions, I would demonstrate it, but I don't want to have to clean my swords. But some versions, they pinch and put it back in. It's not wrong. Some versions do that. Scott's does not. Do you have any renowned swords? No. They would be very expensive. I showed you the short sword, Jose Perez. Just got my katana. Will you have double sword wall mounts back in soon? We might have them. I'd have to look. You got any blades that can repel a bullet? Any blade can repel a bullet at least once, if you're fast enough and you can see the bullet coming. Let's see. How much for that straight sword? That straight sword is not for sale, but we do have a straight sword in shop for $175. Not at the shop. No, I'm at home, Chris Man. I know already you asked, but I got busy at work. How much was the meteorite sword? $2,000. I'm caught up. Yes. What would a sword made in the 1300s cost? Depends on the condition. So yeah, it depends on the condition of the sword. I've seen the least expensive I've seen made in the 1300s that's certified is about $10,000. Do you have a washing pole? We have one at the shop, but not here. All right. Sorry about TikTok. I'm gonna catch up here. Honestly, feel like G10 just better handle material than wood. Don't have to worry about moisture. Thoughts on Hanwei Tori XL Light Katana? I've never used the Hanwei XL Light. I've used the Hanwei Elite XL. No, the Hanwei Practical XL, and it's a great cutting sword. It has good cutting geometry. Dragon King Modern Katana Serial Master is a very nice sword. We just sold one today from the shop. Let's see. I may order one of the swords from your store. Thank you, Ludwig Tokugawa. What prices are you? Oh, let's see. Do you have Emma? Yes, we do. $150. We have it at the shop. I don't have it here. Any update on your S5 Handachi? I have to ask. I think it's coming. I know he sent the Kodachi in one package, and I think the other ones are coming. What are the one of the most high quality swords you can come across? Like functional sword or antique sword? That's very different. Do you have anything 18th century swords like George Washington's Just the Shape? We do have something in the 1700s. John, rather than the Hanjian for the walkie trade, Cloudhammer Musashi Vortex triple stand doable. You're going to have to, Chad, write that down for me. Let me see that somewhere. And Chad, better send me an email because I know you send things on Discord, but I hardly ever check my Discord. So it's better to send something by an email. Have you seen Nochi Kaho, who uses her left hand when practicing katana use? No, she's right-handed, JT. She just flips, her camera is flipped. I asked her about that. I actually did a live interview with Kaho Nochi once, so I asked her if she was left-handed, and she said no, the camera was flipped. Let's see. Railway steel sounds cool, but afraid of the bad karma. Store is called RVA Katana. All right, let's see. I feel like G10 Mercado swords, a lot of problems that would cause... I wouldn't know, Serial Master. I'm sorry. Let's see. I ordered my brother the Dragon King Modern Tanto. He's thinking about ordering the katana to match it. Cool, Vito, we can do that. We're out of stock, but we can get it from Cas Iberia really quickly or ship it directly from Cas Iberia. Modern katana is a lot of fun. I have never cut with it, but it is a very fun sword to handle. Do you keep blunt swords used for HEMA? No, we have sharp swords used for HEMA. Let's see. I have some sharp HEMA swords down there, long swords. My Masamune cuts as well as my Motohara. I was pleasantly surprised. Where can you get good mats to cut? Arizona. Where do you live, Chris? I know I sent you swords, but I don't remember off the top of my head. But we have mats. We sell them for $8 a piece plus shipping. Let's see. It's a super nimble sword. I believe it's called tamashigiri, but do you carry any tatami mats? Yeah, someone just asked about this. So we do have tatami mats. We don't have a lot in stock. I think we have about 40. And so we can sell them. We sell them $8 a piece. And then $8 a piece. And wait, sorry. Doing the math here. Yeah, $8 a piece plus shipping. Yeah. So, and they are called tatami. Yeah, for tamashigiri. Arkansas. Yeah, Arkansas. I don't know what the shipping. We're closer to you than Tatami AZ is. Tatami AZ is a little. I think it's 70. They sell it for $7 a mat plus shipping. We sell it for $8 a mat plus shipping. Right? Tatami mats grow in the backyard. Tatami are so expensive now. Do you personally have any wakizashi or katana with a double bohi? I am thinking about that. Yes. Oh no, okay. So this one has a double bohi, but one of the bohi is really tiny. So you can see it has the big bohi and then it has the tiny bohi. So this is my only wakizashi with 2 bohi. Slam. Here's another cool wakizashi. This is the Osaraku wakizashi. This one has a single bohi in it. And I love doing this with this. I mean, this company, this particular Fords, they always come like super sharp. So, you get the idea. So, Osaraku wakizashi. Speaking of wakizashi, let's see. Any suggestions for cheap cutting material? I've been using water bottles. They're pretty good. And water bottles, regular practitioners will poo-poo water bottles. But for example, Mark, who is one of our staff members, he's been cutting water bottles for a long time. So then when he gets to tatami mats, he is so accurate. He is so good. So I will not shit on anybody who uses water bottles because cutting them is, if you can cut a water bottle, that means you have good aim. Let's see. What is the name for the straight sword? Look for Ninjato or Chokuto. Ninjato or Chokuto on our website, rvakatana.com. Don't you need to have a Chokuto with a double bohi? Didn't you used to have a Chokuto with a double bohi? I think so. We did have some katana with double bohi. Can a tsuba be added to that one? To the Osaraku? No, it's too wide. The nakago is too wide. It would have to be custom made. Did that guy commit to the Okatana? Which one, Cook? Which Okatana are we talking about? I don't remember which one we're talking about. Why do you bow to some swords but not the others? I bow to the Nihonto. We do have a few fantasy blades, but not like Western fantasy. Are the water bottles easier or harder to cut filled? Easier to cut filled because there's mass keeping them in place. When they're empty, you have to really clean cut in order to get it. Otherwise, you send them flying. At least that's my experience. Jose Perez, the straight sword. The Ninjato is 175 on our website. Let's see. Oh, this one. When you say Chokoto, I'm just like, yeah, this one has a double bohei. What do you know? But this is, someone was asking about Wakizashi, but this has a double bohei as well. I love that triangle bohei. I'm gonna miss this guy. Do I really want to sell this? This is such a unique sword. Like Cloudhammer only made 3 of these guys, and it's made an S5 shock steel. It's like, oh, so cool. Everything about this sword is cool. Let's see. Nihonto, what does that mean? Sorry, a Nihonto is an antique Japanese sword. Do you recommend using pool noodles for cutting? Yes. Pool noodles are very challenging to cut, in my opinion, because especially the thinner ones, they flop over if you don't have good edge alignment. So pool noodles are a much more challenging target than some tatami, in my opinion. Lego swords in the near future. Hey, I can do them now. Any experience with Fred Lohman? I contacted Josiah Boomershine as you suggested, but I couldn't afford him. I think Fred Lohman's going to be more expensive than Josiah Boomershine. I don't even know if Fred Lohman's still doing it. Yeah, water on the blade. Yeah, you have to make sure you dry them off afterwards when you cut a water bottle. When I cut water bottles, I wipe the blade off after every cut just to avoid rust. Yeah, me too. Your name is John, yes. What's your business partner's name? His name is Scott. And both of you practice Iaido or train in Ryu. So refugee of Vietnam, Scott, he's been training in Japanese sword for like 40 years. And I learned from him. So I've been very lax. I haven't been training as much as I should. I teach Wing Chun. Wing Chun is sort of my thing. Let's see. Best custom katana set smith based in experience. I would go for, if money was not an object, I would go for a Howard Clark sword. That would be me. I sold my S5 for that one. It's mine now. You sold your S5? Well, anyway, that S5 you can always, that's the one with the rounded profile, if I remember correctly. That's a really nice sword. I like the hammerback ones. Oh yeah, those are really cool. I've never cut one. Best tips if you go learning good edge alignment for cutting stuff. Ask Scott. He would have better tips than I would. John, the red SO Katana. It is more or less sold, Cook. He's in Netherlands and having a hard time paying me because anytime he tries to pay me with PayPal, his bank thinks it's fraud, and so we're really trying to figure it out. I'm a Sikh, actually does all sorts of sacred, so we actually bow to all our swords. Oh, that's cool. Do even high quality katana have a lateral bend? What do you mean? Jose Perez, go to our website, rvakatana.com, and look up Chokoto, straight sword, and Ninjato, and you'll find it there for $175. Do you do any other types of martial arts like Muay Thai or kickboxing? So I came from a Wing Chun background, had my butt handed to me by some sparring partners who did MMA. So I learned boxing, I learned Muay Thai, I've learned Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, but I'm not good at them. I just know enough not to be totally useless. Are kokatana normally coming with the katana specifically, or are they made more separate? Do you mean does someone make a kokatana for the blade? I actually don't know. You don't find many modern swords with kokatana, so I actually don't know if they were specifically made for them. I know that some were specifically made sets. Like I have a set here, which everything, like the kokatana, the kogai, the fuchi, everything matches. So is that sort of thing. Do you have a katana that is like the kendo style katana that you talked about in the short video about kendo? Yeah, I have 2 here. These are both Bakumatsu era swords right here, long and straight. So this is a Satsuma era sword, and this is a, what do you call it? A Kinoto. And then I have my own personal one out in the back over there. Jose Perez, I get it. Check our website, rvakatana.com, and you'll see it. Do you recommend getting a hammerback Damascus blade? I'm thinking of getting one. Jacob, it depends on what you want to do. I wouldn't get it as a cutting sword, just because, I mean, it's fun to have. It's cool to look at, and you can cut with it. But I mean, yeah. The ridge back is going to grind into your saya if you draw it a lot. So it really it really depends. Do you personally have any katana with the knife accessories on the side? Yes. Yes, I do. Or do I? A katana, no. But I have some with the place to put them. Why do you think there are so many people that like swords? Because they're cool, right? What is the blade fuller for? The fuller is there to lighten the weight. Are there any in shop? So what is it? Shay? J. It's J. Sorry, my eyes are so bad. So those. Well, actually, one of them's already sold, but the Kinoto is still for sale. The Kinoto. But the blade fuller is there to lower your weight of the sword. I live in a state that allows open carry of swords. Thoughts on it for self-defense? Probably silly, but wonder your thoughts. I'd rather have a gun for self-defense. Or if I could have both, why not? Gun for long range, sword if they got in close. So. All right, people. It is 9:20. A few more minutes. I got to shut down because my daughter likes to go to bed early. She gets up early to skate. So she is going to go to bed soon. I need to figure out a way to set up my camera so they can both see like all the things here. Do all S5 blades don't have hamon? Yes, S5 blade, I don't even know if it can take a hamon, but if it could, a hamon would make everything about S5 useless. I mean, S5 is there for durability, and the minute you differentially harden a sword, you already weaken it. So if you're gonna get an S5 blade, then you wouldn't, I mean, it's totally pointless to have it differentially hardened, even if you could. Let's see, just got off work, NYC villain, awesome. Do you have any samurai swords? Yes, I do. Skate isn't skate. Yes, both my daughters are ice skaters. Thanks for Tenken. Hey, NYC villain. You're in NYC villain. I guess that is Vantes, I guess. Vante. Over in North Carolina, even though you're an NYC villain. So I just want to say I love your insightful sword vids. Thank you. I try to do my best. Share vid where he struck Zone was crazy. Yeah, that is insane. I wouldn't do that to my swords, but we provided that one for him, and I guess he was having fun with it. Both of my daughters are figure skaters. Hey, good night, Scooby. Always great to have you here. Still looking for a Masamura blade. You and me too, bro. Thanks for taking the time, John. Always interesting stuff. Thank you, J-Doc. I'll be going live from my shop tomorrow around this time, actually earlier, like around 8:15 p.m. We're going live, so yeah, come visit us. An early morning, good night, Jill. Where do I find mats on your website? They're not on our website. Just contact me and we can arrange it. But they're not on the website. Let's see. Do you know any sword sharpeners had to people local? We Serial Master, if you're in Richmond, Virginia, we have two people who sharpen swords in our shop. They don't polish it like traditional, but they can sharpen it. Do you plan on selling Naginata? No, but actually, we're getting two Naginata in, by the way, from Legacy Blades. We are getting two Naginata in, but that's about it. Let's see. Your nieces are skaters. That's awesome. Our swords are forged, definitely forged and not cast. Is the Chokoto Katana on the website similar to the Kinoto style? No, not at all. Yeah, Kinoto do have a slight bend to them. So the closest thing we have would be the Cloud Hammer. We're actually getting some Cloud Hammer S5 shock steel swords that are 35 millimeters wide. So they're wide blades and they're relatively straight. They're not totally straight, but they're relatively straight. They're very much like Kinoto, long handles. Any modern steel blades always better than any modern, yeah. Tamahagane steel blades. Well, better for performance, yes. Aesthetics, no. You really can't beat Tamahagane for aesthetics. But in terms of functionality, yeah, you're not modern steel. Even 1045 is gonna be better than Tamahagane. We don't have any Kwandos, but we are looking to make some Korean swords. All right, everybody, I am shutting down. Thank you again for joining in. And yeah, we'll be live again from the shop tomorrow. I will try to do this dual thing a little better. Actually, at the shop, it's less of an issue because there's swords everywhere versus in the house. There's these swords plus the Japanese swords over on that side. All right, so good night, everybody. And shutting down YouTube, I think. Shutting down YouTube. And